The study in Boston, that we had 3,600 leaks. We used a threshold of 2.5 parts per million, when actually further testing that I've done showed that almost any deviation from baseline is a leak. So I think that the actual leak number was probably double that. And same with Washington, D.C. We used the same threshold, so we were very conservative. So there are a lot more leaks out there than what the industry is showing. Do we have another one? Yeah, here's Carpenter Street. Distribution line leak, very easy to see in the clean area. Will stay right here, and this was 4.76 ppm. So anybody, I have, this machine's a couple of $100,000 a year lease. I can smell the gas before the machine goes off. If you smell gas, there's a leak. Don't let anybody fool you. It's generally a gas leak. What's so wonderful is we can document all this. Do we have one more? Okay, here's the one on Meadow Sweet Trail. And I'm not even sure, this might even be a leak on a plastic line. Anywhere there's a gas line, there's the potential to leak. The plastic they put in the 70s has already been deemed substandard, and they're replacing it because it was bad pipe. The steel that we have thousands and thousands of miles of bare steel that's really hazardous, and cast iron that's really dangerous. But the coated steel that's running around the majority of the Columbia Gas distribution system in this area is really substandard. It's old, from the 50s, coated steel. Anything below, I think it was 1970, is considered substandard. We have what they call the applied extrude coat. It's a coating that's put right on, and they're all cathodically protected with a little bit of electricity going through. So really, if you have some of these older pipes, that they're all going to go. They're all on their way out. I can go on for hours about this. I think do we have one more slide? Okay. And then, yeah, here again we're showing Meadow Sweet Trail. And we can make these spikes look as big as we want. I can just put it in the file to multiply by 500 and make things larger. What's important is that you've detected an emission, and then we can pinpoint that emission with proper equipment. A lot of times I'll get a little blip, very, very small. Somebody said, well, that's a small leak. I said, no, that could be a very large leak up next to a house. And we're just that far away from the emission. So if I go right over the gas leak and there's a drill hole in the street where the gas company had already been there, there's a vent hole, I'll get a high read. So any type of emission that's a deviation from the baseline could be an extremely hazardous leak. We can't look at these and say, oh, that's a big one and that's a small one. That's 2.54. That leak, without testing it, could have the same or greater emissions than the leak that had a 4.5 ppm. So when anyone looks at this data, realize that this is a detection tool. In this mode, it's not a quantification tool. That's very important. Do we have one more? Again, this is giving us the areas we went on the trace, and we're showing nice clean areas, and the pipeline goes right through here. I've monitored transmission lines for many companies, including National Grid and Columbia Gas and other companies, and I have never found a leak on a transmission line. When there's a leak on a transmission line, it usually ends up as a disaster. You know, what happened in San Bruno, or you see these, if you go onto my Twitter account, I post all the explosions around the country, and you'll see transmission lines let go, I don't know, every 4 or 5 days, every couple of weeks, something lets go somewhere, and you have a big fireball. Luckily, we haven't had that fireball here on a transmission line. We had the fireball in Merrimack Valley, which was a real nightmare. I was involved with the Lexington overpressurization when we lost one house. I worked there for 6 months, 7 days a week after that incident. You saw what happened in Merrimack Valley. I think it was actually heroic that they got that back on before winter set in, and it was a miracle that Ackley, the weather changed. If you remember, it was 0 out the day before, and I think right around that, and the weather changed. We could have had a human disaster in either place. We just missed it. I mean, all those houses would have frozen right up solid. Do we have one more? We do. Okay, same kind of thing, we went right down by the high school, and here's our transmission lines here, and we're not showing, you know, a nice clean test here. And that's what we want to see, we don't want to see a lot of emissions. Do we have another? Okay, oh, this goes to the SUMA canisters. So, I'm happy to answer any questions after about any of the testing, and I really want to thank these guys here for putting together a good